you wonderful people here, you keep using that word DevEx, and I don't think it means what you think it means. And why would I say such a terrible thing about you? That's not very flattering or nice, is it? Well, first of all, I would say it because it's true, right? That's the first reason I would say it. But the other reason I would say it is because, well, I got this message. So Dave, he sent me this message, and he said, I have a title for a talk, Platform Engineers. You keep saying that word DevEx. I don't think that word means what do you think it means? And what did I say? I said, what does it mean, David? You've got to tell me the secrets now. And he said, good hook, right? OK, the good news is I did find out the secrets. So I'm going to tell you all the secrets today. The bad news, though, is that Dave is not here. The good news is that I'm here. Well, which is also rather surprising. I live here in Atlanta, so thank you all for coming all the way to Atlanta to see me. I'm very grateful. But it is surprising I made it here with Atlanta traffic. Oh my God, I saw two fire engines on the way here. That is, the traffic. And I bet you there was at least 2 cars almost changed lanes into me. But I'm here, safe, sound. I mean, you're impressed. You're impressed, right? All of you. Fantastic, I'm here. Unfortunately, Dave isn't. But we're gonna have a great time anyway. So, what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to find out what DevEx means. And actually, we're going to find out why it matters that we understand what it means. And by understanding why it matters and what it means, we are going to apply actionable strategies to improve our DevEx, our developer experience within our organizations. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever struggled with adoption of your platform that you may have built? Maybe you've perfectly laid plans, and somehow, you put a lot of planning into that, and somehow this happened. You're not alone. This has happened to many people. I promise you, it happened to me. Because people, they will find a way to make it work for them. And what does better DevEx mean? Better DevEx means increased voluntary, not mandated, adoption of the internal platform. Because we've all had that mandated adoption problem. It feels a bit uncomfortable. Doesn't sit right. However, how do we know where the developers want to walk? And you know what? There might sound like there's a lot of easy answers to that question, like ask them, right? Well, we'll talk about that in a second, why it's not maybe that easy. So, let's gather some insights, and we're going to take some notes. We're going to find out some things, such as what do developers do all day, because the developer experience is really about developers. We're going to do some interesting things there. And what do they want? And we're going to watch out, because it isn't as simple as asking them, I promise. And we're going to measure what matters. But how? I promise you, again, there are a lot of secrets here, and I'm going to spill the tea. So, let's find out what those developers are up to all day, because I am sure they are deploying a lot of software and they are creating a lot of projects for the absolute first time, right? Developers love creating new projects, right? That's what they do all day. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what they actually do. But a very good way of finding out what they do is shadowing them. No, you don't stalk them. It's not a good idea. Don't do that. But people are actually really bad at explaining what they do. So it's actually much easier if you... So when I say developers, there's lots of different types of developers in your organization. Let's be very clear here. When I talk about developers here, if you are a platform leader and running a platform engineering team, I talk about product engineers, those who are building applications within your organization. So who are your internal customers, your clients, right? So you want to get into their shoes. Well, not literally. That would also be weird as stalking someone. So if you take some time with them and follow them within their day of work and what it takes for them to, they have maybe a new feature they need to develop. What is the journey of a feature? Like, follow the feature from idea to production. And what does that look like? And shadow them. Because, again, people are bad at explaining or even accurately representing what their work looks like. Then observe them. Don't get binoculars in the office. That's also weird. But let's take time to actually observe what's going on. Then let's find out what developers would like. Again, asking people things is hard. And if you want to do something like a developer experience survey, I do recommend talking to your HR department or even marketing if you have that within your organization. Developer experience surveys are hard. I used to run one in the company where I worked, and I worked really closely with other people who were experts in surveys. Because your own biases are seeping through in the questions you write, I promise you, and it shows. So be careful in how you write them, because you can skew the results in how you ask questions. But caution. When you ask questions, whether that's in focus groups or one-on-one conversations or through surveys, that is something that I would like to call the loud engineer. And the loud engineer, I believe, has shaped a lot of what we see in the platform engineering space to date. Well, I already installed Argo CD. It was so easy. I need access to the full Kubernetes cluster. And I can manage my own databases. And also, by the way, I can install and manage Istio myself. So why do I need any of this? And this person is often very loud and speaks over other people. And so be careful to not over-accommodate for this particular product engineer, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that within citation marks there. So we'll come back to talk about the loud engineer later. So when you listen with a filter and give some attention to the maybe 80% who aren't so loud. So let's find out how we measure what matters. And why does it matter what we measure? It matters what we measure because that will help inform us of what we invest our efforts into building and what to put energy into and how we're going to improve the developer experience. So, therefore, is the glass half full or half empty? I want to give you some caution here, because impact and output are not the same thing. So, do you want to measure the amount of tools or APIs or new number of features you have launched? That's an output, right? Number of new tools, number of new features on your platform. But what is used and the impact it has is more impactful. So I want to share with you a story from my own experience when I was running an API platform team to illustrate a problem that I ran into. So I had this situation. My team offered APIs for common functionality that product teams were using and integrating into their solutions, such as authorization APIs and authentication, for example, and other types of APIs, functionality via APIs. So imagine this. This is illustrative numbers. But one API had 10,000 calls per day. Another API had 5,000 calls per day. You may want to say that the one with 10,000 calls per day was more important and more impactful than the one with 5,000 calls per day, but you would be wrong. Why would you be wrong? Because the one with 5,000 calls per day had 5 clients rather than 1, because an amount of traffic was not indicative of the impact it had on the organization. So the number of clients and their usage was important. And therefore, I needed to change how I was reporting impact in my monthly reports to my leadership, okay? Because how I, as a leader, reported what my team was focusing on and what we were delivering mattered to me as a leader of a team, because that is how I got resources to allocate to my team. So I started measuring for each API the number of registered clients, the number of active clients, and the mean versus the average calls per client. So that's just an example, but that is what we measure matters. So how could I make it easier for people to understand? So that comes with the DevEx part. I needed to help the product teams understand what APIs were available on the platform, how they fitted into their product development, why they mattered to them. So we needed to put efforts from a developer experience point of view to drive these numbers up because they mattered. And that's why you measure matters into DevEx. So platform engineer, as you wish. So if you're building and you want to invest in good developer experience within your platform team, you need the right people, but also the right skills on the team. And how do you find the people, and how do you grow the right skills on your team? Well, what are the skills you need on the team? Well, isn't it easy? Sorted. Easy. Done. Well, that was wrong. Let's try again. That looks better, right? Got a little bit more of a mix and variety there. That looks more like a team makeup of different skills. So, looking better. And well, that's the next problem. Well, we've got a better list of skills, but where do we find the people with these skills? You're going to become thieves. You're going to go stealing and finding people in other places. Step one, look internally. I have to be honest, I'm a good thief. I barely ever hired people outside of the company when I built my platform teams. I was a thief. I have been called a thief. Honestly, I was not a mean person. You know those loud engineers I talked about earlier that seemed a bit annoying? I actually stole a few of those because they seemed really like they were in the wrong place, right? So I took some of those onto the platform team. And then secondly, if you are hiring outside, I do recommend looking for what I call Swiss knives. So they have gone through the whole shipping process of products. And lastly, remember, you aren't going to have one person that are all of those things. You have a team. You're building a team. They're going to bring different skills to the team. And a platform solution, it will take a miracle. Caution. The Kubernetes hammer. Be careful. It can feel like the magic thing that's going to solve all your problems. Well, you may say, but I have more hammers. I've got loads of them. Lots of different tools in the toolbox. Just use the right tool and combine them in the right way. I will challenge you. Please reframe these as a suite of capabilities. Green flags means good, by the way. Not red flags, green flags. So what does DevEx mean? Because that's where we started, right? So we probably should come back to that, right? But before we really land there, let's talk about the traps. Let's recap them. Making CI/CD great and calling it done, or you ain't done. Unfortunately, if that's all you can afford and that's all you resource to do, that's all you can do. No tickets equals success. Well, maybe you've done a no interaction system, hands off. Well, that's good, but it ain't all. And two, if you have ended up in a loop, a spiral of just improving your tools, maybe they're now faster, more memory efficient, and all you focus on was technical details of your actual tools. Congratulations, that's great for you. I'm sure your engineers on your platform team are really proud that you are using less memory. But your users of the tools are probably not feeling the impact that much. Read the documentation is a nice thing to say to people when they can't understand how to use the tools that you've given them. But I want to tell you there are some shortcuts out there. I am in no way affiliated with Kappa or Dosu, but I do like the tools. They are really helpful. If you have managed to accumulate the amount of documentation equivalent to an encyclopedia from the 1980s, you can leverage tools like Kappa and Dosu to help you with letting your engineers chat and surface this. And also, you get some insights on how people are chatting with it, and you can find the gaps. And you don't want to become a translator for infra tools. You don't want to be the, hi, how do I use support desk and YAML? Do I need to say more? You don't want to become a template library either. So navigate that with care. So what does developer experience mean? Developer enablement and empathy. Focus on outcomes and experience over the tools. The name of the tools really doesn't matter so much, even if you may have a deep and loving relationship with the tools. Packaging tools into usable solutions and capabilities matter. So how do they work together to create great things? Be research-driven. Go beyond asking. People are bad at explaining what they need. Be broader in scope. Think beyond the CI/CD. People don't deploy all the time. Well, maybe they do deploy all the time, but they also build. And security and usability together. Security doesn't get enough love in this space, but help people build secure software. So, research rooted in reality. Expand the skills in your team with product engineering and capabilities over tools. Your homework, if you'd like some, observe through shadowing, get hands-on with product engineering. If you can, if you have the opportunity and your product engineers will allow you, get onboarded onto the team and take a ticket for a sprint and see what it's really like to build inside of your organization. And reframe your tools as capabilities. This was really my speaking voice there for a second. But yeah, reframe your tools as capabilities. But yeah, focus on experience over tools. And as I said, Dave couldn't be here, but this content was created together through many conversations between me and David Stenglein. And my name is Erika Hughberg, and I work at Tetrates. And me and Dave also do a lot of collaboration in our content creation called Build to Boom. You can follow us on LinkedIn, where we share a lot of our content. And thank you. Sorry? If anyone has questions, there were dragons on my slides. If you like dragons, I have no answers about dragons. If anyone has questions, comments, or anything you want to share about your experience about DevEx, you're more than welcome. Oh, there's a hand over there. Oh, there's more than one hand. Yeah.
Thanks for the talk. Great one. My question is, you focus a lot of developer outreach, shadowing. How do you manage that more when your team is remote or partially remote?
Sorry?
How do you manage the shadowing part when your team is remote?
How do you manage the shadowing part when?
When your team is remote.
Remote, yes. So I work in a fully remote company. And when I was leading a platform team, though, I was at one part I actually did. You mean fully remote company, or partially remote? Partially remote, so some people in office. Okay, I also managed a team where I was partially remote. I think it is easier. It's definitely easier to be in an office with someone where you can sit down, next to someone. It's absolutely easier. Fully remote, I would say shadowing, the most important part is actually understanding their workflow. So you can opt for not shadowing, but actually taking a moment to onboard to someone's team and take an easy ticket to go through their entire development process, because it's not so much about following Amy or Henry or Dan or Lisa, right, and following what they do, but really feeling what it is like to be in someone's code base. And funnily, it was something that I was asked to do when I came in as a platform leader in a company where I just had joined once, yeah, to fully understand what it's like to be a product engineer in that company.
Was there another question? We might have time for one more quick one, and then we have 2 lightning talks and closing remarks.
My question is, I agree with you. I think platform should treat it just as another product inside the company. So more of a career advice or personal question, how in your career helped you get that product first mindset, and how you are, and as I see, you are applying it in your position?
I am so sorry. It is hard to hear because all of the speakers are away from me, so I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. So how could you get more of a product mindset?
How in your career you learn or experience this product-first mindset when you are working in technical teams and applying the platform engineering in your company?
So how do you get more of a product mindset? By being in a technical career. Okay. So I have a couple of admissions to make, and that would be that before I got my computer science degree, I do have a computer science with a business management degree, and before I got that, I have a marketing certification. So I have to be honest that I do have both academic and then I have professional experience in marketing before I got my professional experience as an engineer. So I do want to be transparent about that. So maybe that curiosity led me to some of that experience. But I would say that curiosity is the foundational. The other thing I would say that is really fueling my passion and experience right now is being involved in open source, and I am involved in the Envoy project, where I do get to have a lot of fun with thinking about how to think about not like a commercial product or project, but play around with something that maybe is lower stakes. So I would maybe encourage people to do that if you have that bandwidth to explore and learn something and apply it in a different place.
Thank you so much, Erica. That's all the time we've got for questions.
Thank you.